Dell, buddy, are you okay? Your XPS laptops recently have been both incredibly engineered and just the worst things that I have seen in a long time because of decisions that you did not need to make. So I'm in the very strange position where I'm going to be recommending this right here. This is the new Dell Inspiron 16 Plus, and it looks to be even better than the XPS 16 because it's not stupid. Haha. Up first is our power adapter. This thing will deliver 130 watts, and that is over USB Type-C. Love to see it. Plug it in, turn it on. Wow, here it is. This is just a big slab of laptop right here. There is so little design going on, and I'd like to say that I want a bit more of that, but we have seen what happens when Dell goes full in on design. You end up with things like no I/O. Fortunately, we have that here. We have a micro SD card slot, headphone microphone combo jack. Thank you, Dell. Don't remove that from your other laptops. USB Type A, another Type A. Wow, they know that exists too. We also have Thunderbolt 4, HDMI 2.1. One of the strangest is that on the iGPU version, the HDMI is 1.4, which means you can't even do 4K out of it. So be very careful when you're looking between the two models because the one with the DGPU and the iGPU are completely different. This is the power brick that came with this, right? Yes? Why is there a barrel jack hole over here? Apparently this might be because people that already have deployments of a whole bunch of these, maybe they want to use a barrel jack with their existing systems. I don't know, it's kind of strange. You'd expect this to just be like another Type-C or something like that. The first thing that I'm noticing that is a huge upgrade compared to the XPS series is the fact that this is just nice to touch. All of the edges are nice and rounded. There's nothing sharp. What I am sure of is that it feels good. What I'm not as sure of is the size of this trackpad. On first look, I feel like they could have definitely made it a little bit bigger. There are, of course, some other things that let you know that this isn't a $3,000 laptop. We don't have any Gorilla Glass here, and the plastic around the bezels, not the greatest in the world. It probably makes the screen pretty easy to replace. But we have a matte display, and we also have this segue to our sponsor.
MotionGrey. MotionGrey's sit-stand desks come in a variety of models and sizes with easy-to-follow instructions and all the tools you need for assembly included right in the box. Check out their Ergo 2 series, some of the most affordable desks of their type on the market. With a 2-segment frame and a quiet but powerful single motor, it has a height adjustment range of 28 to 46 inches and supports up to 176 pounds of weight. That's about 80 kilograms for y'all metric folk. Pick up one through our link in the description and use code Linus to save 10% off your purchase.
4.8 pounds. That is quite a bit of heft for a machine like this. And when you combine that with the power brick, that is 5.8 pounds that you're going to have to carry around in your backpack. That's going to be quite a bit to have on your back, and you can comment down below about how, oh, I had a gaming laptop and I was able to, I don't care, that's quite a bit of weight. This display is not the greatest that I've ever seen, if I'm honest. I was expecting it not to be the best ever. This is not a top-end laptop, and it does not come with OLED or anything crazy like that. But when I saw that it was Quad HD, 120 Hertz, 300 nits peak brightness isn't great, but the rest of it sounded very promising. But the letdown is that it's just kind of grainy, and I don't understand why. There's no touchscreen digitizer to get in the way. You guys are just gonna have to trust me on this one, but it's just not what I was expecting when I saw the specs of this display. It is still really quite good given the price point. It's just not quite where I wanted it to be. Looking at the lab's test results, this display does measure quite well. We're able to get 326 nits peak brightness, which is higher than the 300 that's advertised. With a Delta E2000 of 2.29, you would definitely be able to use it to video or photo edit in a pinch, even if it isn't something that I would trust if it is my professional job to do stuff like that. But it should be noted that you do not want to switch this out of the default color profile. That gets you nice sRGB. Everything else is going to just look strange and probably in ways that you don't want. One other thing that is a little bit odd about this display is that you have the options of 120 Hertz or 48 Hertz. Ooh, that's some... 48 Hertz does not feel good. 60 you can kind of get away with. 120 feels way better. All right, let's have a look at what's under the hood. For the processor, we have an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H that has 16 cores, 6 performance, 8 efficiency, and 2 low power efficiency cores. And those performance cores will go up to 4.8 gigahertz, making this quite a rapid little guy. We also have 16 gigabytes of RAM at 5600 mega transfers per second, and it says form factor SODIMM. Ooh, so this might be upgradable. I love to see that. We also have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, Wi-Fi 6E from Intel, like to see that. Intel's NPU, which does not meet the minimum specs for Copilot, even though they did steal a key for Copilot. And also an NVIDIA RTX 4060. Now this is gonna be a little bit of a controversial pick. So you can go for the 4060 in this, but you only get 60 watts of power out of this chassis, which is not gonna be getting you the full performance of that. Keyboard. You know what? I really like this keyboard. It has a very satisfying snap to the key travel, and the stability of these keys is fantastic. Like look, if I push on the corner, whole thing's going down way before it's getting below the chassis. I think I'm going to give this keyboard a solid A, and bonus points Dell for having an actual escape key and function row, and I don't have those stupid capacitors. What is certainly not going to be getting an A though is the trackpad. The size I can get over, it's made out of Mylar instead of glass. I'm going to give the trackpad a B-. I expect Intel CPUs to run hot, but we're in the menu and it's already at 100 degrees. Like, oh dear. Oh God, what's happening? Why is this so terrible? This is actually unplayable right now. All right, we are back in Rocket League, but I have hardware info open. We are looking at 100 degrees on the core, but we are not having any more issues with it dropping down to like 7 FPS. Maybe what we needed was just a restart. So if you're looking at a laptop that is mostly just for like schoolwork and office stuff and things like that, but on occasion you want to be able to game, this is probably gonna be a pretty good option. All right, we've now been playing Rocket League for 2 minutes. This is not a very accurate way to do this, but 46 degrees, where's here? 46.8. All of it is very hot. Labs, when they were doing their testing and they had extended gaming sessions, found that the keyboard got up to 53 degrees Celsius, which is the sort of thing that will actually burn you if you touch it for too long. That said, the keys themselves are pretty nice and cool, and the bits that I'm actually touching are okay, but everything surrounding the keys will actually give you a 1st-degree burn if you hold your hands there for long enough. Ow. Now in here we have a 4-speaker setup, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. This is another situation where dedicated graphics gets 4 speakers, integrated only gets 2. Totally different laptops, but let's see if it bumps. Ooh, that's even better. When you have a solid surface below you, the treble bounces off of it, and it actually sounds really quite decent. I think given the price of this, those are perfectly acceptable speakers. Hopefully we'll be able to actually do proper testing on the sound of laptops soon. I am very excited for that. All right, let's see how the webcam looks. It's really not too bad. It's exposing well for my face. There is definitely some ghosting issues, but it is 1080p. Okay, it does definitely struggle at times. Like I am both blown out and look like that I have been in the sun without sunscreen for 48 hours. But if you're lit in a somewhat reasonable way, it is able to figure it out. And if you want people not looking at you, boom. There's a little switch right there that just completely disables it. I love to see that. Thank you for putting it on there, Dell. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any IR emitters, so we don't have Windows Hello facial recognition, but we do have a little fingerprint reader right here, so you can get into your laptop nice and easy. 9 Phillips screws later, 2 of which are captive, so they pop this off. We are inside, and this is actually looking incredible for upgradeability, given that the year is 2024. We have our SSD right here and spot for a second SSD right here. Now the second SSD will have to be a very small boy, but at the same time, you can get 2 terabyte SSDs of this size, chuck it in there. It's way better than nothing, and that's what most other brands will give you. We also have an upgradable Wi-Fi card right here, so you can go to Wi-Fi 7 in the future if you so choose. And the most incredible bit, we have upgradable RAM, SODIMMs, hell yes! So many laptop makers are either going to just not having any upgradability, or just even worse, the chip makers aren't even allowing it. Looking at the cooling solution, it is shockingly robust given the CPU temperatures. In here we have 4 heat pipes, 2 fans, and we also have 4 heat sinks, which looks like it should be able to dissipate a fair bit of heat. Well, not that one's going straight into a hinge, but the rest should be able to dissipate a fair bit of heat, even if it didn't really do that in the real world. What I suspect is if you rip this thing off and throw some liquid metal in there, you'll be able to get much better temperatures. And if you're going in here to like upgrade the RAM or something in a couple of years anyway, that might really bring this thing back from the dead. What certainly won't be dead though is this laptop. Well, it will die eventually, but it will take quite some time because it has a 90 watt-hour battery in it. We are able to see over 10 hours of battery life on this away from the wall, which is quite impressive given that it has a DGPU and an Intel CPU. One final test for upgradeability. Wow, they have a super small SSD in here by default. So you could just chuck it right there, get a full-size SSD, and bam, you're off to the race. And it passes the double-sided SSD test, so you can chuck a double-sided SSD in there. The repairability of this has really helped my overall opinion of it. So many laptops don't have that. So then the Dell Inspiron 16 Plus. Is this a laptop that you want if you want to do hardcore gaming, hardcore video editing, professional photo editing, really hardcore anything at all? No. But this is a laptop that is not crap at anything. It has good enough gaming performance, a great keyboard, a good enough display if you're just doing casual video editing or photo editing, and it will just be a friend for a long time because you can upgrade it. Man, have I mentioned yet that you can upgrade it? It's just a pretty good laptop. Just like you're a pretty good viewer. Hit like, get subscribed, and just have a great old day. See you later.